So let's talk about product sourcing. How do we get products to our customer? Obviously, that's half the battle, right, with dropshipping. So we use private suppliers, and the way it works with private suppliers, when a customer makes an order on your website, a person from China will see that order and process the shipping for you. All you have to do is pay the cost of goods or COGs to the supplier. So something to note here, right? A private supplier simply finds the product in the warehouse in China making that product, and from there, they will order the product to their warehouse and properly package and ship it to your customer. Okay, because the people that work in these factories in China, they don't communicate or connect with people outside of China. The private suppliers, they're that agent that you can work with to find the best quotes, find the best products, and they'll find the warehouse for you where they can, obviously get your product to your customer, right? So that's important to understand. The private supplier is not the person making the product. They simply find the warehouse manufacturing the product. They'll order it to their warehouse where they'll properly package it and ship it to your customer for you. So that's very important to understand. So here's an example here. I messaged the private supplier, hey, I got these gloves here and I want to sell them. They ask you which country you want to sell it to. I said the US. And as you can see here, they'll say, hey, we can get it to your customer in 6 to 10 working days when it reaches our warehouse for a total of $7.13. That is the cost of good on this particular product. Okay, so now we just need to simply talk about how we can connect this to your store so this can be automatically done. You have two options. The two shipping options I have to offer you, and one of the benefits of being inside this community is that you have direct supplier access. We no longer use AliExpress. We don't use any of these other websites and stuff like that because there's two big problems with this. One, you end up spending more money using a website like AliExpress because they're also dropshippers, right? They're a tool that is marking up the price of these products where a supplier can get it for you at a cheaper rate. Also, we know that AliExpress takes much longer to ship products. We're talking about 30 to sometimes even 40 days. Okay, so you definitely want to have a private supplier because they will ship products to you way faster than AliExpress will at a cheaper price. So you have two options. The first one is my private supplier. I'm going to break down the pros and cons for you with each of these two options, and then you can decide whatever makes the most sense for you. So the pro with using my private supplier is that normally you'll get the cheapest price. Before finding this private supplier, I was using other tools and suppliers and even a little bit of AliExpress at one point, and I was paying 3 times the markup on products that I wanted to sell. And this is very hard to be profitable because if you haven't already checked out the logistics training, you need to obviously sell products at a 3x markup. So for example, these gloves here for $7.13, I want to sell it for a perceived value price of around $29.99, and I can't do that if I go and try to sell this and I'm getting charged $20 for it, right? It's pretty hard to do that. So it's very, very important that you are able to get an affordable price for the product. So it's normally the cheapest price. Another pro with using my private supplier is that they'll fulfill orders for you automatically by signing in on your Shopify account as a team member in your Shopify dashboard. So they will, once they're signed in, they won't have access to anything confidential like your bank account or whatever, but they'll be able to sign in as a team member that will be able to fulfill orders for you and automatically send out emails to your customers whenever the products have been processed or delivered. Now, there's a couple cons though. They have the longest shipping times, right? So my private supplier, they can find pretty much any product for you at a pretty cheap price, but they normally take a little bit longer than some other options, right? So what they'll do is they'll normally have to order the product from the warehouse that manufactured it to their warehouse, which that process alone takes 3 to 4 days, right? So they're trying to find the warehouse, get the product, and get it sent to their warehouse. Then they'll ship it using the YUNE line, the YUNE Express line, which takes anywhere between 7 to 15 days. So I've had products that pretty much take about almost 3 weeks to get to my customers. So this is specifically shipping to the U.S. Now, obviously, the closer you are to China, the faster it will take to get your products shipped to your customers. So if you're somebody here watching this video and you're trying to sell products to Europe, Dubai, Australia, or anything like that, it won't take as long, right? But obviously, if you're trying to sell to the biggest consumer market in the world, the United States, that's on average how much it will take, right? So that's something to be mindful of course. So I've seen it take as long as 22 days, and this is obviously a con because you'll run into more chargebacks and customer problems if you don't have proper customer support. So I've had this happen to me when I first started working with them. I wasn't anticipating it taking that long because I wasn't factoring the 3 to 4 days it takes to get to their warehouse. So I'm thinking, okay, they're going to get it to them in 7 to 15 days. Great, that's perfect. But then I didn't factor this part in, so it was taking a few days, almost an extra week longer. So I had customers asking and emailing me, hey, where's my product? It's been almost 2 weeks. What's going on? So this is something to definitely be mindful of. Now, after you find a winning product, you can actually negate this issue by just simply ordering in bulk. So what my private supplier will do is that they'll actually start, when you're starting to get 10 to 15 orders a day, they'll start ordering like about 2 times that amount to the warehouse. So that way, when they get new orders in, they'll be able to directly ship it to the customer from their warehouse. They won't have to wait these extra 3 to 4, sometimes even 5 days to get it to their warehouse. So I will say that the transit time will cut down significantly. So like one of my winning products right now it takes on average 9 to 16 days, closer to that 16-day window. Very rarely do I ever see getting to them in 9 days. It's more like around 16 days. And at that point, that's feasible. You might still get a couple of customers here and there ask, hey, where's my product? You can simply respond back and say, hey, we had a small delay, but should be getting back to you in a couple of days. And proper customer support is going to be needed here. You should be checking your emails. If you have the Shopify inbox notification turned on, check that and respond to your customers regularly, and it shouldn't be that big of a problem. Another con, too, is that they only take bank transfer or Wise payments. So Wise is a payment processing tool just like PayPal, but it has way less fees and it won't hold your money as long. You can sign up for that and use a business account or a personal account to send money to them via bank transfer. Now, the con is that you will have more issues with cash flow if you're someone that's trying to ball in a budget here. Now, keep in mind, you only need to send the money when a customer actually makes an order, but they need to receive that payment to actually make the purchase to send it to your customer. So if you're someone that's running short on actual liquid cash, this might not be the best option for you to use the private supplier because you cannot pay them through credit card or anything like that, only through direct cash-to-cash bank transfer. Okay, so something to be mindful of. Now, with that in mind, the next option is using a service called Unified Dropship. So Unified Dropship is basically like a private supplier. It's a different private supplier, but they do pretty much the same thing. So here's some of the pros and cons. Unified Dropship, they ship products to US faster and obviously other regions even faster. So on average, it'll take about 6 to 10 days if you're shipping to the US, which is great. But you can't forget that they also still need to order the product to their warehouse. Okay, so that's still going to take 2 to 3 days to get the product to their warehouse. But once they receive it, they'll be able to ship it out in 6 to 10 days. So customers should be getting it a little bit faster. And just like the private supplier, once you find a winning product, you're getting about 10 to 15 orders a day consistently. Unified Dropship will say, hey, would you like to do a little bit of a bulk order and get maybe 30 to 40 units to the warehouse? That way, once it's at their warehouse already and they have a bulk amount sitting in the warehouse, whenever you get new orders, they can ship it out directly and get it to your customers in 6 to 10 days or less. Now, obviously, this is an average. Sometimes it might get to the customers on 12 days, right? Sometimes they might get it even sooner, but on average, 6 to 10 days. Okay. Unified Dropship has more ways to pay, including credit card and debit card. So like I mentioned, with my private supplier, you can only pay them through bank transfer. With Unified Dropship, they allow credit card, debit card, they allow PayPal payments. Obviously, they allow bank transfers and wires as well. So if you're someone that's trying to use business credit or like use some reserved funds that you have, you don't have to worry about shelling out your actual physical liquid cash. If you have some type of business credit or something, you can actually pay Unified Dropship on a credit card. But once again, you only pay them once you've made a sale yourself, and you need to obviously pay them to fulfill the order to the customer. Another pro of Unified Dropship is that they actually use an app where you can easily track everything and see which customers are getting their orders, which customers are, their orders are in transit. So this is for the people out there that are trying to visualize and see everything. With my private supplier, they will just kind of go into your account and then they'll start fulfilling orders. And all you'll really see is that, when an order is fulfilled, they'll mark it as fulfilled in your orders tab. While Unified Dropship, it's a little bit more of a systematic approach in a separate app that you can easily use and see which ones are being shipped, which ones are not being shipped. Unified Dropship also provides custom branding with a certain amount of orders. So you don't have to worry about this, especially when you're starting. But for those of you that are like, okay, when I'm starting to get a lot of orders, can I put my logo on the product and my branding? Unified Dropship offers that, while my private supplier doesn't. One of the cons, though, of Unified Dropship, because they are using a faster shipping line, which is YUNE, cost of goods could be a little higher on average. I noticed that can be anywhere between 50 cents to maybe $2, a little bit more expensive for the product versus my private supplier, which is always optimizing for giving you the best quotes and prices. Something else as well is negotiating. When you first start off with one of these two options, whether it's my private supplier or Unified Dropship, they're going to give you a base quote. I find that with my private supplier, you can negotiate with them a little bit easier when it comes to negotiating a price down. So if they give you a quote, like let's say $7.20 or 13 cents for this, you can negotiate and work with them and get this maybe 20 to 30 cents a little cheaper on average if you're starting to get consistent orders. Same thing with Unified Dropship. Unified, it's a little harder to negotiate with them, but they will allow you to, after you're getting a good amount of orders, they'll consider dropping the price down a little bit so you can make more margins on your sales. So some last notes here. Both options are good. It depends on where you are in your dropshipping journey and what forms of payment options you have. So if you're someone limited on cash and you're trying to use business credit, I would recommend Unified Dropship. It's a free app to set up and use. You just install it. I'll show you that in a later training. Same thing with my private supplier. It's also free as well. But for those of you that are limited and you're trying to kind of delay payments a little bit on a credit card, you can use Unified Dropship. Obviously, the closer the country you're selling to China, the faster products will get there. So for those of you selling to, again, Europe, Africa, anywhere in Asia or Australia or anything like that, it will get to your customers a lot faster. So on average, about 2 to 3 days faster than if it was the United States. Both options use something called 17track.net. This is the option that they use to allow customers to check on their orders. So here's an example of when an order is made. You can see here this order is made on the 7th and arrived to my customer on the 22nd. So it took 16 days of transit to go from China to the United States. And this is the tracking tool. They'll provide a tracking number via email, and the customer can just click on the tracking number and they can monitor where the location of the product is. So this is one of the orders that I had sent to my customer or to my private supplier to their warehouse. So because it's sitting in their warehouse already, they're able to ship it with about 2 weeks, which is solid, right? Like you can't really complain. At scale, you can even consider eventually bulk ordering your products to the country of origin that you're looking to sell to, like the United States. That's well down the line. But for now, without needing to hold any inventory or anything like that, you can see that it got to my customer within 16 days. You take it, right? It beats AliExpress, which is 30 days. So yeah, something to be mindful of there. One last note as well is just be mindful of customer support, right? People are going to be asking where their orders are. People are going to be wanting updates. And sometimes people aren't as smart to check the tracking numbers. So you're going to need to check the tracking numbers, which both services will provide that. So you can just click on it and just simply communicate with the customer and let them know, like, hey, we had a little bit of a delay. We wanted to make sure we got the best quality product to you. So there was a little bit of a delay, but your product is in transit and should be getting to you in a couple of days. My apologies. We'll offer you like a 10% coupon or something like that. So just be mindful of that, right? That's a big part of your business is customer support. And at scale, you're definitely going to eventually want to have somebody manage this for you. So yeah, the rest of the training inside this module will just break down how to set up 1 to 2 and then go from there.